Hello class. What today we're going to try to do in this video is kind of step by step go through how to constrain the cam and the axle and the follower so that it does actually follow in this case. There's lots of ways to do the same thing in Inventor, so I'm just going to show you the way that worked for me. I'll use this halfway built box so you can see the parts a little bit better and walk you through how we did that. All right, so I have my box in here. I'm going to first of all place my axle and handle, and I actually made that as an assembly itself. It was two pieces, the handle and the axle, and I put it together as one assembly, and I did mate the planes so that they're stuck together as one fixed object. What I like to do is bring in or place one object, one part at a time. A lot of students want to bring everything in, and we have a lot of areas to go wrong and place some unintended constraints when we have tons of objects in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of do my best to orient this more or less how I think it's going to go in. And you'll notice I'm not going to use an insert constraint at all here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mate the axes. So that's an axis of that cylindrical aspect. And then I'll zoom in on this hole and find that one. So that's mated, apply. If I leave it there, right, this can come in and out, and I don't really want that as well. So I'm going to spin my box around, and now I'm going to flush this face with this face. So we'll use flush, that, and apply. So when I look at it as a whole, here's what I have so far. And again, I can't move this thing backwards, but I can spin it. Next thing I'll do is I'll place a follower. Find one of those, put it in there. And I'm going to do something similar, right? We know what we want to do with the follower. I want to put it in one of these holes. So again, I'm not going to use the insert command. I'm going to mate the axes just like we did with the last one. So it's already clicked mate. I'm going to find that axis, and I'm going to zoom in here and find this guy right there. Apply, zoom out, and you'll notice, right, all we did is mate the axes. I can pull it in and out, but I can't move it away from the center of that hole. All right, it's time to bring the cam in. I'm going to go ahead and place it. And which cam am I going to work with? I'll work with the hexagon. I think that one will work. Put it in there. And again, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the axle, and I'm going to use the mate axes constraint. I'm going to find that one, swivel around, and go to the cam, zoom in on that hole, and that's the one I want. Zoom back out, make sure it looks like I intended. Apply. So right now it's on there, but it can move along the axes, and I need to fix it. And obviously I want to fix it underneath the follower. So at this point, what we need to do is we need to mate or constrain some planes. So what do I have now? I've opened up in the browser the origins files for the parts I'm interested in aligning, my follower, and you'll notice I've got YZ, XZ, and XY, and I also have the origin file for my parametric hexagon cam. And again, here they are. Look what's so nice, because I extruded that from the middle of biplane extrusion, I have a plane right there in the center. So I'm going to mate those two planes. We'll go constrain, mate. We've already got that one selected. Let's find an appropriate plane there and see what that did. It brought these two planes in line with each other. I'll hit apply. So now you'll notice I can't move that cam. It's forced to be where the follower is, and the follower is forced to be aligned with that hole. Still not quite done yet, but close to it. If I spin this, we'll notice that the cam won't spin with the axle and the handle. So that's our last thing that we need to do, or almost the last thing that we need to do, is we need to get this to spin with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix this cam on there. Again, in the browser, I have my axle and handle assembly, the origins file open, so I can see the planes that I built on. And over here, I also have, again, my cam file open. So what I'm going to do this time is use an angle constraint. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one. We'll do angle, and I think we're going to use this one, the middle one. And let's find the planes that we want to make always 0 degrees relative to each other. YZ, XZ, I think XZ would work. Either YZ or XZ would probably work. So I'll click that one, and then I'll go find the plane here. That's the plane that runs through. And in case sometimes it's useful to change that view, make sure you actually get in the right plane. I think that's it. YZ. We'll say go ahead and force that angle to be 0. Apply. And now, if all is right, we should have a spinning cam. Right? Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to do a transitional constraint. So this is where people are having trouble. And if we have all these if we've done different things here, we may have over-constrained the sketch and we don't know it. So that's why I'm showing you how I got it to work. The last thing I'm going to do is that transitional constraint. So we'll pull this out, transitional, and zoom in on those surfaces. I want this to follow this. And I'll hit apply. And if I scroll back out, there. And there we go. So it's working. It's doing what we want, and we can see that follower moving up and down. Now, I have tried every cam that I've made, whether it was snail, eccentric, hexagon, and following these steps of constraints, I've gotten the transitional constraint and the working assembly to be good. So if you want that level 4 for part 3 of our Automata box, that might be one way that you can take a look at it. And remember, it's a good idea not necessarily to bring all of your parts in at once. Just do a few parts at a time and get those together. Last thing is sometimes you may want to have, if you're moving this around, you may want to ground something. So I might ground the box, and that way I can't actually move things unintendedly. If you want to unground it, it's just as simple as right-clicking and ungrounding it. Okay? All right. Good luck. Get to work.